Who is the most hated character in Star Trek? In all of Star Trek? I've got an answer for you, and it might not be who you think. Welcome to the Tack and Pulse podcast, your place for sci-fi news, rumour and debate.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say there are two ways to answer this question. First of all, who is the most hated character on Star Trek on purpose? A character that's supposed to be disliked and did it well. And who was the most hated character on Star Trek completely by accident? They're not supposed to be disliked. We're supposed to, really support them. But I hated them anyway. First of all, I'm going to answer the easy question. Who was the most hated character on Star Trek on purpose? For me, that was actually Captain Jericho, or Jellicoe, however you pronounce it. Ronnie Cox played that character in a one-off episode. He actually then appeared in Prodigies and Admiral, I believe, off the top of my head. He replaced Captain Picard for one mission. He then basically tore up the entire Enterprise and caused everybody problems. The main reason, though, why he's the character that I remember disliking the most was because he was Ronnie Cox. And I love Ronnie Cox. He played Dick in RoboCop. Amazing in that. But more importantly, he also played Senator Kinsey in Stargate SG-1. Now, Senator Kinsey was a lengthy little turd of a man. And very similar in the way that Captain Jellicoe was as well. I cannot tell you how much I dislike the character. A great actor. He plays this kind of slimy villain really, really well. And yeah, when I think of who is the most hated character on Star Trek on purpose, I always think about this guy. Because I hate him and everything else as well. Now, when I'm talking about the most hated character in Star Trek, not on purpose, I do not mean that their acting skills or anything else, or that the actor themselves are irritating or blah, blah, blah. I just mean the way the character was written and, the actor then does their best with it, irritated me. Now, I Googled one of the most hated characters in Star Trek just to see what popped up, and a couple of names really surprised me. One of them was Reginald Barclay. Who the hell hates Reggie? Obviously, he was a character that popped in and out of TNG and then Voyager. I think he might have been in a DS9 episode. It's definitely on TNG and Voyager anyway. Played by Dwight Schultz. How can you be unhappy with Howling Mad Murdoch on Star Trek? I don't get it. You're insane. But his character, okay, fair enough, was a little bit irritating because his lack of confidence. But I loved his lack of confidence. I thought it was great. So yeah, I never really understood that. There were a couple of names that popped up that I could understand. Neelix from Voyager, played by Ethan Phillips. Yeah, okay, he was irritated. He was supposed to be a bit of a comic relief at times, I think, and he was obviously supposed to be the character that, was sort of like a bit of a guide, at least initially, for Voyager, and then he just sort of became the annoying cook that tried to kill everybody constantly with his concoctions, or cheese that nearly destroyed the Voyager. Again, an actor I quite like. He was never supposed to be irritating, but he just was. Kes was another character on Voyager that was also really irritating. Now, the actress, Jennifer Leon, had some really serious emotional problems herself. I do remember reading at the time that was one of the reasons why she left, but not entirety. They just sort of didn't really know what to do with the character, at least in part. But she did end up having some serious brushes with the police, and ended up having mental health issues. And there were a lot of those brushes with the police were dropped, and she's now fine by the sounds of things. She's gone on to a different career. She's no longer an actress, sort of thing. It does seem to me, though, that her character never really went anywhere. She was so softly spoken, and they didn't really know what to do with her. And yeah, she was quite irritating. Particularly the way they sort of ended it with her, I thought was particularly irritating. So yeah, she was an irritating character, but she doesn't really make my list. Another person, though, that was on this list when I googled it was Lwaxana Troi. How can you be mad at Majel Barrett? Okay, yes, her character was annoying, but she was supposed to be annoying. that was kind of the point. She was supposed to embarrass everybody around her. So, yeah, she was cringeworthy. She was supposed to be. But if you are looking at Majel Barrett and thinking anything other than Gene Roddenberry's wife, we love you, then I don't know what's wrong with you. There are, though, two characters in Star Trek that always irritated me. Always. The first one, I think, was roundly, totally disliked during the era of TNG. I actually remember going to watch the premiere of Star Trek First Contact. Because here in the UK they couldn't show it till midnight in the US, we couldn't see it till about 8 o'clock in the morning. So what the local cinema did was they had a Trekathon. I wish they do this sort of thing more often. But they had a Trekathon. They showed all the Star Trek movies overnight. I fell asleep during Star Trek 5, but other than that, I stayed awake and I ploughed through. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning, the next day, we got to see that amazing movie with the Enterprise E that we hadn't seen because there was no social media, so we all got to see the E for the first time on the big screen. And during the movie, so between them, there was like little quizzes and questions, and we, had our hands up and you'd won little prizes and things. And the one question that I always remember was, who's the most hated character in TNG? And the whole cinema together went Wesley Crusher. He was the most annoying character. He didn't really make any sense. This boy genius is always going to sort of annoy immediately. And Will Wheaton played him as well as he possibly could. But there were some really cringy moments. I remember the one point Q sort of grants his wish and makes him into this big, muscular, bloody guy. And then Wesley sort of goes, no, I'd rather just be a little boy, thank you. Because, nobody wants 10 years of their life taken away from them. But there was just moments like that. And obviously Shut Up Wesley became just a glorious little thing that actually Will Wheaton really doesn't like. But Will Wheaton's gone on to be one of a really great ambassador for Star Trek. And so I'm completely disconnecting him from Wesley. I remember seeing a t-shirt, Hate Crusher, Love Will. Oh no, it was Love Will. Yeah, Love Will, Hate Wesley, or something like that. And I thought that was really on the ball, really. But if you'd have asked me this question before New Trek, I would have said Wesley Crusher all damn day. He's the character I dislike the most. But then new Star Trek came along. And we got a new character that I really, really dislike. Okay. So again, it's not the actress. She is a very fine actress. I actually think she is a very, very good actress. Sonequa Martin Green, actually, I think is a very fine actress. But Michael Burnham is just a clusterfuck of a character. So we get the first episode when she commits mutiny, starts the Klingon War on her own, pretty much, has completely lack of any sort of communication skills, gets her Captain Georgios as like a surrogate mother figure to her, killed. Millions of other Federation and Klingons killed during a conflict, again, that she started. She then ends up going to prison, the only character ever in Star Trek history to be found guilty of mutiny, apparently, in the Federation. And then, because a Lorca gets back on to the ship, somehow manages, because there is never a problem that she faces that she can't do all on her own, but ends up going back through the ranks, ends up being captain. I say there's never a problem that she can't solve, but she cries constantly. Janeway was a brilliant captain because mainly she acted like a captain. She got to a point where the crew around her were like family, but she still acted like a captain on the bridge. One of my irritations with New Trek is that the captains just don't. Pike is acting and being stupid and being silly and doing pirate impressions and stuff on the bridge at times, and you just wouldn't do that as a military commander of a vessel. You just wouldn't. Michael Burnham was much worse. They also, though, made her the half-sister of Spock for no reason. Just from beginning to end, this character was incredibly badly put together. The whole thing was just a nightmare, and she is one of the reasons, this character is one of the reasons why I dislike Discovery as much as I do. So yeah, the most disliked character in all of Star Trek, for me, is Michael Burnham. Terrible character. But guys, get into the comments and what you think. What is the character in Star Trek that you like the least? Give me a list. On purpose and by accident. Who did you hate the most? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos for everybody else, as well as going on Patreon where I get to do videos just for there with stuff I can't really say on YouTube. So go check that out as well. There are links in the description. As always, please stay safe and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.